Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Nashville Tour Stop podcast. Sitting across my living room from me today, returning to the show for the third or fourth time now, I believe. Am I right? We've got Mr. Shaun Livingston.
What's up, everybody? Aaron, thanks for having me again. Appreciate it.
Welcome back. This is I think one of the third or fourth times you've been over here to my house, right?
Yeah, because I've done. Me and Koli did an episode way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
We had an episode that
you and Paul and Alex did.
Yes, yeah, that
was a really unhinged day.
That sure was. And then we had the
80s episode.
Was that selective listening or was that?
No, that was the Tour Stop podcast.
Okay. And then I think we did a selective listening.
I think we did a selective listening also.
But one of them was taken down.
Podcast.
One of them was taken down from.
Yeah, the top 10 music videos of the 1980s episode we did got taken down.
Yeah, it was a good episode though.
Because we got whatever it was flagged for copyright infringement.
Yes. Do you have a Patreon?
I do have a Patreon.
You should throw that up on the Patreon.
It's already up there,
all
baby.
Right, good to know.
So yeah, if you want to listen to me be the drunkest I've ever been on the podcast, you can do that.
I wasn't far behind you.
That was a very long day because I'm pretty sure either me and you or me and somebody else had gone to Tennessee Brewworks before I had recorded that episode.
Yeah, and I think you already had I think you might have had an episode of somebody else before me too.
Yeah, so that
was a fun day, though.
That was a long day, but it was a good one. So we've got Shaun here in the house today with off-mic co-host Phyllis the dog.
Yes, Phyllis, how are you?
Phyllis the dog's got her little nose that's been dripping all over the couch. But we went to Missouri over the weekend, and she got to spend long drives in the car on doggy anxiety pills.
Yes, the best kind.
She slept the whole time.
That's good.
Yep, but she's a good, cute little pup. But thank you for coming back over today, buddy.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
What have you been up to lately? What's going on in the life of Lon Livingston?
Oh man, I just got back in town yesterday. I went back home and played a couple of shows with my old cover band before I moved from Cleveland.
Nice.
So that was a lot of fun.
Is that the wedding cover band?
Yeah, we didn't have any weddings. It was all like outdoor, like some campground gigs and stuff.
That's cool.
Stages that were big enough that they were basically like, hey, we kind of need a bass player on stage to look like this makes sense.
Filled out just a little bit.
Where they'll do some kind of 3-person gigs without a bass player.
What kind of bass are you playing on these gigs?
Oh, I got me a vintage modified Squire jazz bass.
Nice. Which
I put some new pickups in. For the money, it's actually a pretty nice little, once you get it set up and everything, it's a nice little bass.
I don't have a curated enough, is that the right word, ear for bass tone.
Yeah.
I don't really know the difference between like what low notes sound good versus bad. It all just kind of goes, blah.
Yeah, I mean, I have all the knobs just turned up all the way. I don't really mess with.
You turn everything to 11.
Yeah, I don't mess with the different pickups. I just put it all on and and let her rip.
Yeah, so how long ago did you start doing that wedding band stuff?
So that I joined that band originally was in 2016, and then I left when I moved here in 2019.
Wow. That was 7 years ago.
Yeah, so...
You moved here in 2019?
Yeah, it'll be 4 years in October. No, we didn't meet till, like... Well, it was, but it was like December.
Did we
December
meet?
Of
we
19.
met at the Moxie Hotel, right?
It was either at the Moxie or it was at Belcourt right before. I think I met you at Belcourt and then went to the next week's show at the Moxie.
Because I remember you had we've talked about it before. You ordered the Moxie cocktail, that purple one.
Yeah, it's a good drink.
It's a good drink.
I don't care what anybody says.
I haven't been to the Moxie in a while. They quit having our shows there, so I didn't ever go back.
That's usually a good reason to not go back there.
It was one of the weirdest conversations I'd ever had, and I won't slam the hotel, but... they told me and all of the other people who worked for them that they weren't hiring people who wouldn't work for free.
Well, it's not really work if it's free now, is it?
Right. So me and a whole bunch of other people, quote, quote, got laid off because we're like, no, we need money.
Yeah, I don't know. There seems to be a few hotels doing that kind of stuff in Nashville recently, and I don't really understand. You can't want music and then also expect people to not get paid to
you can't expect bartenders or anybody else to not work for free.
Right.
Wait. What did I say? You can't expect anybody to work for free.
Right.
But
no, that's definitely true.
But it's too bad because that was a nice little stage there in that.
Yeah, they had a cool. It looked like
a
stagecoach. Didn't it look like a stagecoach kind of thing?
Yeah, it kind of looked like an old elevator,
like a front porch or something.
Yeah,
it's kind of goofy, but it looked cool. No, I like that little room. That's nice. And I like that the bar is the lobby. You have to go in, and then you get a free drink token when you check in the hotel.
That is a nice perk of staying at places like that.
Yeah. And they're nice hotels. I forget the parent company, but it's maybe Marriott or something owns them. But it's a nice little...
It's a nice little hotel.
Little vibey, kind of new age brand.
But the hotel we spend most of our time at these days is over at the Cambria.
That's right. True Music Room on the 5th floor of the Cambria Hotel.
Shout out Casey.
Casey.
I know he's probably listening to this. And Phyllis is getting a big old stretch right now.
How much time are we in?
5 minutes.
All right. 5 minutes and something seconds. And we already used the word shout out. Let's
shout
go.
Out. Good having Casey on sometimes. So Casey books the True Music Room there at the Cambria Hotel, as he's mentioned on his episodes before, and he primarily books the cover musicians, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't book any of his own writers' rounds.
No, there's I know you guys do your round there, and then there's another. I think was it Randy's Revival?
Right, the Randy's Revival.
I just actually went to that
every
a couple
other
weeks
Monday.
Ago. I just went there a couple weeks ago for the first time. That was a fun round.
That's cool. Yeah, I've heard very good things about Randy's show.
But typically it's cover sets, but and I think he even said this on the podcast he just did recently. It's up to us. Whatever we want to play, we can play. If I want to go up there and just do 2 hours of all originals, like I can do that.
You could do that.
Yeah. So
just a matter of seeing if you can get somebody to pay money.
Yeah, the
for
covers tend to get people tipping a little better.
What kind of covers are you doing at your sets? Because you're not a traditional like country singer.
No, I've added a lot of country stuff to my repertoire over the years because I just we're in Nashville and I didn't grow up listening to it, so it's just more difficult to like. There's hundreds and hundreds of songs that I should know how to play,
right?
That I don't know the songs.
I went back and re-listened to Becca's first episode.
Yeah,
Becca Trimmel's first episode from when she was telling the story of her and Emery going and being carnival performers,
right?
Carnival cruise performers, and they told the auditioner that they had, like, the two of them knew a collective like 300 plus songs when they didn't.
Yeah, but they knew them. They may have never just sat down to learn the chords. Go through them, but they probably listened to all of those songs where I have never heard most of these songs. So I'm getting asked to play songs I don't even know some of these artists. I've gotten, like I said, since moving here 4 years ago, I've gotten much more in tune with country. I happen to be drawn towards, and it's not just in country. I listen to older music. Mm-hmm. Like my favorite bands are all like rock bands from the 70s and 80s.
Same.
And like
That's
songwriters, right? And songwriters from the 60s. So when I'm listening to country music, I'm going back to that stuff.
You're not going to your hyper-produced stadium country that's out on the radio now.
Probably couldn't play "Country Girl Shake It For Me" if I had. Like I could maybe get through it, but at the same time, there's like Tyler Childers who has that kind of old school vibe. Where I could learn a few of his songs,
right?
But I don't know Chattahoochee.
Is that Travis Tritt? I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't know any of these classic country things either, because the only country artists I knew of when I was a kid were the ones my mom listened to, which were Toby Keith and the Dixie Chicks.
Right. Yeah, Toby Keith. I know some Toby Keith stuff. I love Toby Keith.
Beer for My Horses.
Yeah, I got. I could do. Want
Red
to talk
Solo
about me?
Cup.
I could get through. I've never been asked to do that one, but I'm sure if I had to, I could.
Aaron Clapton told me a story once on the podcast about how when he used to perform at bars when he was in college before he was 21, he would try to play Red Solo Cup, and people booed him. Boo, we don't want to hear that song.
Yeah, it is a fun song. It's a funny song, though.
It's just a funny, stupid song. And I mean, that relates really closely to what I do with my music, funny, stupid stuff.
Right, exactly.
So,
which is that is an interesting like correlation between the music that you write. You're not necessarily doing country music, but you do have that country music inherently does have like a spirit of comedy in it.
It does.
Which is funny because the other side of country music is like, this song will make you cry.
That's exactly what it's for. like Red Solo Cup is made to make people just, that's funny.
Right. But then there's
all these like
Whiskey Lullaby.
Yeah.
Where you're listening to and you're like, I need to call my parents. Like
I need to tell my mom I love her.
Oh, it's so funny. And it's like, yeah, there's a great podcast episode of, I want to say it was Broken Record, or it might have been Revisionist History, talking about why country music lyrics Like, there's not a lot of rock songs that make you cry.
Absolutely,
but there's
not.
tons of country songs that can do that, and it's just the difference between lyric writing between those two genres.
I really can't think of a single not country song, a single rock song that has made me like emotional like that.
I've never been listening to
Styx.
Yeah, I've never listened to a Styx song. I'm not listening to "Babe" by Styx, being like, "Oh my god, it's so sad."
Oh my god,
he's just always on the road. And he's just always on the road, and he can't see his wife.
Dude, I never stop to think about that because all rock songs are just fun.
Yeah, even the serious ones are still. There's just like it's not. They're telling stories, but they're not like a country song is like, here's what's happening. We're gonna put you in the situation, and you're gonna feel like you're there, and like you're going to want to cry after you hear these words. And sometimes it's so obvious that it's coming that you're like, why am I still sad? Even though I knew at the end of this song this person was gonna die, but I'm still upset about it
because the song is called "I Missed You When You Died" or something like that.
Yeah, or if I could see you one more time, and it's like obviously this person's not alive. I think that's one of the
only downfalls of country music that gets me is how it's so dramatic, and then there's also every songwriter is trying to get that M. Night Shyamalan twist at the end.
It is almost like a trap that you fall into when you're doing co-writes and stuff here, because you want that, because it is fun when you get a good hook at the end of a chorus that flips it around.
But yet those twist hooks, I've written a few of them and I have a couple ideas for them, but I don't really even want to pursue them that hard because it almost seems like a hack bit for comedy.
Almost, yeah.
So I know there's the Maren Morris I Can't Love You Anymore.
Yeah.
But the hook is I can't love you any more than I do right now.
Right.
And aw, sweet.
Yeah.
And I had an idea for one of those, and it's like I don't want to fall in love, and it's like I don't want to fall in love ... with anyone else.
Right.
And stuff like that. But gosh, it does seem kind of like just a hack bit.
I think the issue is, and it's like that in any. Even like in comedy, like just using the word hack, you start with the premise and like, okay, how do I get the joke around this? Or how do I write the song around this? But when you have the ending, I feel like it's harder to get to it without it sounding
canned.
Yeah, exactly.
I totally
As opposed
get that.
to if you're writing a song and it's like, oh, what if they don't do this at the end? Like, what if the ending, like maybe it's easier to do that, or it's just, you just have to make sure you're doing it well enough so that it still works without it sounding too like cliched or whatever.
So I started writing a song called "A Song About Fishing."
Is it Phish?
It's I wrote it, and I don't think it's good.
I have a lot of songs that I would say that
I need to write it with like a bona fide just country singer,
someone that knows how to fish,
somebody who I've gone fishing.
Okay,
I grew up on a lake.
I've gone fishing, but that doesn't mean I know how to fish.
I couldn't gut one, but
yeah.
Beside the point,
I wonder if I could. I watched my dad
the song
do it.
about fishing here. I'll just read what I have here. Verse 1 is, "It seems today that country songs all sound the same. Some pretty boy in a trucker hat singing about some bad heartache." Okay, fine, whatever. It goes on to say, "But I'll tell you what I can sing about, since I've never felt that way. Just give me my old fishing pole in a boat on a sunny day." Okay, there's the setup for it. And it says, if you're wanting a song about drinking, I guess that's worth a shot. If you're wanting a song about singing, I guess we do that a lot. But if you're wanting a song about Jesus, I've got a real good book. And if you're wanting a song about fishing, well, man, I've got a good hook.
Yeah.
And that's one of those only songwriter things where they're going to listen to it and be like, oh, the hook of the song is, oh, it's a fishing song. Oh, it's a good hook. Oh, so.
Yeah, but I do like that. That is pretty, yeah.
But I don't like it. I don't like the song that I've written around it, but I wrote those last two lines. If you want a song about Jesus, I've got a good book. And if you want a song about fishing, I've got a good hook. I was like, that in itself is fine. But the whole song about it, I think, needs to be about writing a song instead of going fishing.
Yeah. No, those 2 lines, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I do like that. That's a nice idea.
But I need to get with somebody like Aaron Clapton, who I know does like just traditional modern country. Yeah. And I think he'd be a good person to do that because he really did grow up much more country than me.
Right.
He wears trucker hats on ironically.
Oh.
And I do not. Do you have on a Tour Stop hat right now?
No, this is some kind of free alcohol hat from my old liquor store I used to work at.
Oh, you did work at a liquor store.
I sure did.
You're full-time music these days, aren't you?
If driving Uber Eats is full-time music, then yes, sir. Although I'm doing Uber Eats less than I am music, so that's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
You flipped the scale a little bit.
Yeah, and it only took like a couple months to do that, which is exciting.
So when
that was part of why I went home to play with my old band because I got 2 weekends. I did 5 gigs with them the last like week.
So you were up there for a couple weeks then?
Yeah, it worked out perfect. I went home, played Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then my family was driving to our cousin's house in New Jersey on the Jersey Shore. So I drove with them Monday, came back Thursday, and then played Friday, Saturday, and then came back yesterday.
That's a lot of time on the road.
It sure was, but
that's what we're here for, brother.
That's what we're all here for. Yeah, if you're complaining about being on the road as a musician, you're like, maybe I'm not cut out for this.
As Bob Seger says, well, here I am on the road again.
So, what was it like playing with your old band? It was fun. Did you kind of just fall back into the groove?
Yeah, it's like immediately they're just like, we were such a tight group of guys and we get along so well that it was just like I never left.
That's cool. Sometimes that dynamic can change when a member like you has been gone for so long.
For sure.
That's nice that it just kind of melded right back.
Yeah, if anything, I think especially because I haven't been doing the shows with them, they're tired because they've still been doing shows the last couple months. Now that summer, they're getting busier and busier. So I come in fresh legs and haven't done a show like that in a long time. And I'm jumping around like crazy, and they're like, "Oh, okay." So are you only
playing bass, or are you doing BGVs?
I'm singing, doing bass. They make me sing like "Faithfully" and "Come Sail Away."
Nice, because you got that nice tenor singing
voice.
Yeah,
they make me do all the Journey stuff that the other singer doesn't want to do.
I think I still have a video of you on my phone singing. Was it Styx? "Come Sail Away"
at the dueling piano thing.
Yeah, the dueling piano thing
at Winners. Yeah, yeah, that was. We did "Come Sail Away."
Yeah, you and I went to see Styx last summer.
That's right.
You were so kind as to give me a ticket.
That's right.
So how many times have you seen Styx now?
Like 10? I just saw them at the Ryman was that 2 Sundays ago, and that was my 10th time seeing them since 2007.
Wow. Favorite band?
Yeah, I'd say they're my first favorite band. I do think, hopefully no one from Styx hears this.
Tommy Shaw, if you're listening.
I do think that Rush might be a little, they might have gotten the edge over Styx a little bit over the last, however many years. But I still listen to Neil Peart. Yeah, I still listen to Styx all the time. I love they had an album come out in 2017. They had an album come out 2 years ago. I like both of those.
I don't think I've heard of the new Styx album.
There's some pretty cool stuff on it. A little more prog kind of thing going on.
You do love your prog.
I do. Yeah. But I don't at the same time. I can't get into Dream Theater. It's like too much.
The math rock.
Yeah, it gets a little too crazy. Like where I think that's what Rush was so good at was kind of combining just regular like rock and roll,
right,
with adding like those like, and obviously some of the Rush songs get a little crazy. But
like listening to Limelight doesn't feel like they're playing in a mixed meter.
No, I don't think you even notice. Yeah, you don't even notice the time changes because I think that's just something Neil's really good at. Todd Sucherman from Styx is good at that too, or there's some stuff from the newer Styx albums that same thing. You don't notice the time signature changes because he's keeping
it's so seamless.
Yeah, and he's keeping like a certain beat on like a cymbal that you're not. That's what you're listening to, and you don't realize that they're like in like 5/4 or
these
whatever.
Polymeters, two different time signatures going at the same time.
Yeah.
So I was in a prog rock band in high school that I didn't realize was a prog rock.
Just because you were doing stuff and didn't even, you were just making stuff up.
I was so naive to music back then. It was long before any of my music theory training, and I didn't realize that I was writing songs in multiple meters. Like my first song I ever wrote was in 7/4.
Yeah.
And then I wrote one in 9/8 that changed to 6/8 that changed to 4/4.
Now was that on purpose? Like obviously you didn't know you were doing it, but was it on purpose or was it just because like the way you were singing the lyrics you wrote happened to like time out that way.
It was just because of the way I wrote the riffs and the words. It's
Right.
like, this is how it times out.
Yeah, and
then I had a drummer who
You
was
didn't
like,
know
no,
enough you didn't know enough about music to realize you weren't playing it right.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't realize that what I was playing was actually like difficult for my drummer to learn back then, because I started playing the riff and he'd be like, okay, so that's not 4/4, and it's like, so what does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
But we got through
4/4.
it. We got through it. I don't think you've ever heard any of that music that I put out in high school.
I don't think I have, actually. No.
Yeah, we put out an album in 2012 called Lot 56.
Is it on iTunes?
It is. iTunes and Spotify.
I have to check that out for sure.
The artwork for it is Sharpie drawn on one of those high school notebooks that we used a printer scanner.
Yes.
And superimposed, I think it was like American Typewriter underneath it to put our band name.
Yep.
So
sounds like a high school band.
That was the high school band. Here, since we got a special treat, let's give the listeners a listen to what my first band sounded like. We'll fade that in right here. So that was a sample of the song I wrote. I think it was like 2010 or so. A song called Other Side that I wrote with my band in high school.
And it was not a cover of the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
It was not a cover of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. The original title of the song was Other Side of the Mirror. It was about looking back at yourself.
Hey, we all got to do that every once in a while.
Yeah, I just had that teen angst, man.
Hey, sometimes I wish I still had that.
Yeah, now we just have adult anxiety.
Now I just get mad when there's a neighbor lawn mowing.
Like, I'm happy that Phyllis doesn't bark because my neighbor's dogs bark.
Yeah.
And before I got my cochlear implant, I could never hear it. And now I can hear it all the time.
Yep. It's so funny how that, like, that's the kind of stuff that just drives people crazy when I think you hit a certain age and live by yourself.
Yeah. I don't know, all of a sudden, like, why do I love my home being silent?
Yep.
And if I can hear my neighbor's dog barking through the floor, why does that piss me off?
Yeah, usually I'm okay as long as, but sometimes, you need a 20-minute nap in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
And it's always
or 4 hours.
Yeah, sure. As soon as you lay down and close your eyes, a weed whacker turns on.
Yep.
Like it's every single time. Or your roommate gets home and is just like walking around the house. It's like, oh my God, you haven't been home.
You haven't been home all day. Why did you choose the moment I needed a nap?
Or why didn't I just take a nap 30 minutes ago? And I would be already awake by the time you got home. But yeah, that's life, man.
So who's your roommate right now? Is it Mitch Curley?
It is, yes, sir.
So Mitch Curley's a good dude, and he has a job.
Yes.
We just made an edit to edit out all of the things that we said he does.
Yes, all the things Aaron said.
Yeah, well, thanks,
he is my
for throwing me under the bus.
He is my landlord, so I have to be on his side.
Yeah, Mitch is a good dude, though. How long have you been living over in East Nashville?
I moved there in like the end of February.
How's it faring compared to your years spent over in Bellevue?
It's a lot closer to literally everything. So I didn't mind Bellevue. I liked living out there.
There's just nothing that anybody wants to go do out there.
No, I mean, the fast food chains are better than the ones in East Nashville, but
objectively better.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, I'm 8 minutes from pretty much every place I need to go. So
in Bellevue, there's a little shopping mall. I think it's across the
Bellevue
street from
One.
Yeah, maybe.
The one like down by the highway.
Yeah, so
like
it's across from a Kroger and from McDonald's.
Oh, okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but there's a bar in the very back.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
what's that bar called?
That's Alley Pub.
Alley Pub.
Yeah, so that's the same building that the liquor store I worked in.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember going to Alley Pub.
I'm very familiar with Alley Pub. That was literally like that's like I lived right down like a half mile from that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have a tendency to go to the places closest to my house.
Yeah.
because it saves gas.
Well, sure.
And
Well, and you know,
beer tastes the same at every place. So nowadays I've been going to Neighbors over in Sylvan Park quite a bit. Mm-hmm. I'm only a few minutes from there now. And I also go to the local over here quite a bit. Did you know that the local years ago had different ownership and was called The Country?
I did not. I knew that they've changed names a few times in the past, but I didn't know it was called The Country.
The Country. And I know it has a new owner now. Jeff Reed is the owner of the local. But
yeah.
I want to know who it was that thought The Country was a good name for a bar.
Yeah, I don't know.
How
they spell it.
The Country. It's like, which country? Oh.
Yeah.
Have you heard I'm sure you have. His name is Wheeler Walker Jr., and he's got a new song called She's a Country Music Fan.
Yes.
Oh.
Wheeler Walker Jr. is one of my biggest inspirations.
Dude, you're telling
music.
me singing funny country music?
Yeah.
I think it'd be amazing to open up for him.
That'd be, yeah. No, he's pretty funny. His songs are literally ridiculous.
Oh, they're so overtly, like, intentionally dirty.
Yeah. He's like the Steel Panther of country music, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, he's got a song called Eatin' Pussy and Kickin' Ass.
Yeah.
And then She's a Country Music Fan.
It's like it's almost like a George Thorogood knockoff, isn't it?
Super, like, old school. Some of it's like swing country. Yeah. And I would just love to see him perform at, like, just a honky-tonk bar.
Yeah, I
and
think he's
see all
coming
of the people,
to
like...
Oh, like that people didn't know who he was, and he
Yeah.
just gets up and starts playing.
I think that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, that would be pretty funny.
I've had that
like
reaction.
Imagine like booking him at like going to the listening room, and he's just one of the four people playing.
It's like Dierks Bentley is Hot Country Nights. Did you know that? The country band Hot Country Nights is Dierks Bentley.
Oh, I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah. Do you know have you heard any of the Hot Country Nights music?
Is it like a parody?
It's a parody band.
Oh, okay,
or not a parody
fun.
band, but it's a comedy band.
Yeah, but that's fun.
Here,
I didn't know he was doing that.
I sure hate to leave her behind. It ain't my fault. It's that asphalt. Yeah, it calls out my name and I'm gone just like that. I don't really care if it's curvy or flat. I could stay, but there's always a but that makes me jump into my truck. There's one big old reason why I'm even leaving at all. It's that asphalt, that sweet asphalt.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I have not heard any of those songs.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts about doing these podcasts with you is that we have to stop so many times to listen to stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure it's great for the listeners.
But yeah, it's terrific. So pause the podcast and go listen to Hot Country Nights.
That's really funny. I've not heard of that, but I feel like Then It Rained is almost like, is that like Thunder Roll? Like, is that making fun of like Garth Brooks?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's supposed to, like, they're stylizing some of these classic country songs because they're like big single off of that first album was called Pick Her Up in Your Pickup Truck.
Okay.
And it's just that classic 90s just dunka 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 kind of songs.
Oh yeah, just that dunka dunka dunka. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
You guys know the one, right?
Yeah, the dunka 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 sound. But yeah, man, that's just the kind of stuff that I love to kind of hear in my own musical ears. But
it's fun that there's like legitimate artists that are doing stuff like that.
Yeah,
like Dierks Bentley
they're using a pseudonym,
like Dierks Bentley being in a like parody country band is pretty.
That's amazing.
It's pretty cool.
And because he's one of the biggest country artists like around these days, and
he has a
got
honky tonk on Broadway. Aaron, of course he is.
So next we need to get Miranda Lambert in a comedy country band for girls.
They should do that.
That would be actually let's find them.
Yeah.
But let's take a quick commercial break and come right back with Shaun Livingston on the Nashville Tour Stop podcast. And we're back with the Nashville Tour Stop podcast. Shaun Livingston sitting in my living room with me.
We're
and
back.
Third mic off. What do you want to call her? Third off mic
Over off
co-host?
mic there is Phyllis.
Phyllis the dog, who's doing what she does best.
Sleeping on the couch.
Sleeping on the couch. I've been trying to work with her to sleep in her bed.
Yeah.
But she prefers the part of the couch that I sit on.
Yeah.
Because I assume it smells like me.
Or it's like more broken in.
More. That's actually definitely
A
it.
little more soft.
A little
over there.
softer. Smells like my butt.
All the things dogs like.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely something that dogs like. But let's see. You just finished off your glass of, we poured ourselves a little taste of the Nelson Brothers Honey Cask finish. Classic Reserve Bourbon.
You know, for it being, what'd you say the proof was? Like
113.
113? It goes down pretty smooth, which I'm assuming is the honey cask finish.
That is the Honey Cask finish.
Yes. Very good.
It's a spectacular bottle. It's, I believe you said it was 250
Something
or
like
so.
that, yeah.
But it's
They raffle them off every year.
I don't really buy myself nice things like that very often, but when I have a special occasion and I want to celebrate something, or if Sean's at my house,
That's right.
special occasion, then we'll break out a little glass.
No, it's good stuff, man. Thank you for letting me have some. I've not tried that one yet. So.
Well, I'm glad to have you back on the show, especially this time now that we're a little bit more coherent than we were last time.
Yes.
So you're working on a whole mess of stuff. Let's talk about some of the stuff you're producing these days.
Yes, so I'm right now I'm in the middle of finishing up an EP for Molly Murphy. Shout out Molly Murphy.
Shout out Molly Murphy. She's coming
got-
up on a Tour Stop show here in a week or so.
Oh yeah, she's the original co-host of Songsmiths. I staged a coup and took over her co-hosting duties.
Yes, you co-opted her job.
Mm-hmm. But
We'll talk more about Songsmiths in a minute. But tell me about this project.
We've been working
producing.
on this project since I think we went in the studio in April. Got some fantastic musicians to come in the studio with us. Spent a whole afternoon. Just got as much
Tracking at your home studio?
No, this was at Gnome Studios.
Very cool.
Over kind of by
that
like
place
Tennessee
with the
Brew
stuff.
Works and everything. Over in that direction of the city. South, maybe? I don't know.
South.
But I was raised in Cleveland, Ohio. North is Lake Erie, so I always knew which direction something was, where now that I'm landlocked, I'm like, where is everything? But slowly starting to make more sense to me after 4 years of being here.
So how many tracks are going to be on this album?
There's going to be three song EP. Like I said, I'm trying to get it done, mixed and everything by the end of the month, so that she can send it to the master engineer. And then
Where did your background in mixing and production come from?
So I went to school at Ohio University for audio production.
That's cool.
So that's where that all started. And then I did some stuff after graduating. I worked for like a live sound company, setting up stages and whatnot. Didn't really care for the live sound life. I had a 24-hour day once setting up stages, and I was like, I don't want to work.
Don't want to do this
I don't want to
again.
Yeah, I don't want to be in a job where this could happen randomly. Like, it wasn't supposed to be
regularly.
It wasn't supposed to be a 24-hour day.
Blah.
There was just like a miscommunication with the local stagehand union, and we were like only supposed to do the lights and speakers after the show, and stage was the next day. But then the guy was like, you don't have us tomorrow. You only have us tonight. So we were like, oh, I guess we're doing everything
today.
So
That
I got
sucks.
there at 6 a.m. that morning, and then we didn't finish till I think I got back to the hotel at 6:30 the next morning.
Ugh.
Yeah, that was no fun.
No fun at all. That does sound brutal.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, live sound's probably not for me. But then I started doing some recording. I bought some, equipment and everything to do it at my house. My dad has like a little shed in our backyard that's like a little man cave kind of thing. So we would set drums and everything back there, and
That's
I
cool.
did Argyle and the Smooth Skins is the name of the band, which is a reference to a character in Fallout New Vegas, I think it was.
Okay, I've never
Or
played
Fallout
the Fallout
3 maybe.
games.
I forget which one it was. But there's a character named Argyle who's like a radioactive, like his skin's all messed up, looks like a zombie.
Okay.
And they call the humans that weren't affected by the radiation smooth skins, and so that's where they got the name from. But that's like a kind of a prog rock metal album. That was a lot of fun. One of the songs is 19 minutes long, so that was a pretty interesting project to take right out of college, just trying to figure out how to like mix and master and record a prog metal album
instead of going for something like this is an
acoustic guitar. Yeah. So we got through it and it turned out the way it did. It's fun. And I learned quite a bit, like getting through all of that. So then I moved here. I haven't really been doing anything besides my own demos and stuff. I did Candlelight Campfire. I did all that myself. Besides, I had the drums. Someone recorded the drums for me. But I kind of realized I should start using this degree that I have, and maybe make some money off of it. So I'm just doing acoustic demos, and then I'm doing this EP producing and mixing for Molly, and we'll see how that all turns out. I think it's sounding pretty good so far.
That's
and
great.
We're not quite done with it yet, so I'm pretty excited for it.
So is Molly actually performing anything on it other than singing, or is she hiring out all of the performing, like the instruments?
No, I think she did some guitar and stuff on it. Yeah.
Just some of the preliminary, just to
but we had like a drummer and a fiddle player and that kind of stuff. So, and a guitar player.
So are you engineering the album, or are you just mixing it?
Yeah, so I am producing it. I produced it with her, but we had an engineer when we went to the studio.
Okay.
And then I recorded some stuff, like I recorded the vocals and stuff at my house. And then I personally did like some backup vocals and that kind of stuff. So now I'm in that phase where I'm in the middle of mixing, but I'm starting to add in little like weird reverse reverbs for this like all that kind of crazy little fun stuff. Yeah, all that fun stuff that is stuff that like when you're listening to it, you might not even really notice is happening, but
when it's missing from the track,
that's
then it
like the
sounds
fun
weird.
part of producing and stuff is those things matter, because when they're not there, it feels like there's something should be there.
It feels naked.
But then you also need to put something there that's not even really noticeable, or it is very noticeable because it needs to. You know, what I mean, that's
one
kind
of my favorite parts about doing some of my own demo work is being able to just put in and play with different kinds of like synth pads, that just texture an album that aren't really they're not in the foreground, and they're just there. But when you mute it, you're like, oh.
Well, and
it's weird.
That's what I was doing. Like I did a bunch of harmonies and backup vocal stuff. So I texted Molly. I was like, "Hey, I'm just gonna do all this stuff, and then I'm gonna send it to you, and you tell me what to take out."
That's cool.
And there was a couple things.
It's easier to take it out.
Yeah, but there was a few things that I thought sounded really cool
that she wanted taken out.
I got the notes back, and it was just like, "Yeah, get rid of all of this." And I'm like, "Oh!" But I thought that like there was like one part where I was like, "Oh, I thought that sounded so cool," but it's not. It's not my album, one thing.
Right.
And if it's not in her vision, that's all that really matters. And I knew I was overdoing it. So, but, part of you as part of the artist aspect of, like, a part of, like, not artist as in the musician, but
the creative.
Actually making, the creative part is like, oh, I hope she hears this and is like, that's really cool. And it's not that it's not cool. It just didn't serve the song necessarily.
Her song the way she envisioned it.
Yeah. And that's like a big Rick Rubin thing is if it doesn't need to be there, take it out.
Classic, famous, legendary record producer Rick Rubin.
Right.
Do you follow him on Instagram?
I don't know if I do. I want to read his book though. Everyone's reading his book right now. He has an
Instagram where he just posts quotes.
Yeah.
And I know now, knowing he has a book, I would assume that the quotes are probably they're probably lifted from his book.
One of the things I saw recently that really resonated with me was the audience should be the last piece of the puzzle when you're creating. So when you're when you're writing songs and you're recording songs and or even when you're painting, whatever it is, it's just art in general. The last thing you should be thinking about is how is this going to resonate with an audience? Should you do this because this is more popular, or should you just do what you want to do? And that's the end of the.
Let's unpack that, because so many people in Nashville write because they're like, this is what country radio likes.
Right, but if you're writing what's on the radio now, you're behind.
You're behind.
So
by
you should,
2 or 3 years.
But what happens is, if you're just doing what you want to do, in 3 years, that might be what starts to become popular, and already have it.
Because you might have made it popular.
Or you just already had it, and now you're like, oh, I have this, so here you go, and then it goes on, whatever. I was told when I first moved down here, so I had a couple songs that I had demos of, just acoustic demos, before I moved down to get into songwriting, that were sent to some people in the industry, and those people said that these couple songs sounded too 90s country. And then like 2 or 3 years later, after I moved here, 90s country is like back
Huge.
in. Like that's like back. That's like what people like. There's like that cover of, and I don't know if it's
Tracy
90s.
Chapman's Fast Car.
Yeah, that's not even country, and that's like on country radio now.
That wasn't even the 90s. I think that
was
came out
80s.
in 1989.
Yeah, that was 80s, and which is crazy.
That
You know,
Luke
thanks
Combs
to Luke.
cover.
Yeah, thanks to Luke Combs for. She's from Cleveland, Tracy Chapman, so it's.
It went number 1, right?
Yeah, it's very cool hearing that song all over the place again, because I think it's legitimately one of the greatest songs ever written. And I also like that he didn't change the, like he still says like "check out girl," and like he didn't like change the verbiage to make it about him being a man or whatever. He just sang the song the way it was written, which a lot of times when people,
song.
when people cover stuff, they'll change it.
They'll change the gender or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. So I don't know. It's cool. There's some things I've seen online that irritate me. Like some guy had a comment on TikTok that was like, "Oh, I like the original version, but Luke Combs really put some soul into it." And I'm like, "No, he didn't. He's just singing the song.
He's singing the song that
original
has
is
soul.
pretty soulful." I'm not sure some country singer is going to put more soul in something than Tracy Chapman.
No, absolutely not.
But I'm glad that she's kind of getting a little resurgence, and she's not ever referenced when you're talking about great songwriters, which is a shame because, like, she's incredibly talented and an amazing songwriter, and has songs that most people have never heard that are better than.
I honestly couldn't name it one other Tracy Chapman
She
song.
has a song called "Give Me One Reason." Give me one reason to stay
yes.
here. Yeah, that's her other
Never mind,
kind of
I'll take
popular
it back.
song. And then she has a song I think it was from like 2006 called "Revolution" or it's something Revolution. And that whole album is really good, but that song specifically is wonderful.
So Tracy Chapman is the original songwriter on that. And I'm sure that song at this point has been covered by dozens of artists.
I've been covering it
but
just at
it's
my
just
gigs for years.
It's just probably the Luke Combs being, I don't want to say the peak of his career right now, but he's
definitely seems to. I mean, he's at the
top of the mountain.
Yeah, it might not be the peak of his whole career, but he's at the top that he's been at since he started. That's for sure.
He's living the rock star country music singer life right now.
And because she's the sole songwriter, did you see that she is the first African American woman to have sole songwriter #1 in country music?
No way.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And it's just because Luke Combs covered a song. So. I think that's pretty. I thought that was pretty
I'm
cool.
happy
when I read
that Luke Combs is doing well in the town because he was playing Belcourt the old days.
Sure was.
Makes us feel like maybe we're the next class.
Hey, maybe, but I've been hoping for that for 4 years now. But hey, it's a 10-year town, baby. Let's go.
10-year town. You're 4 years into it. I'll see you in 2029.
Sounds good to me.
So you also are one of the proprietors of a show here in town called Songsmiths.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about Songsmiths that you co-host with our friend Koli?
Was started by Koli Kohler back in January of 2020. I believe we were at the first Songsmiths. Then Molly Murphy, who I'm doing that EP for, she was co-hosting for a while. She got a new job. She couldn't do it anymore. And then Koli asked if I could help her because we used to have to set up the PA system every week and all that kind of stuff. So it was just a lot for one person to handle.
Right, because she used to have to bring her own sound equipment there every week.
Yep.
Which is awful.
Yeah, especially for... It's on the second floor and all that fun stuff. But we have since moved to Sonny's in Germantown, so we're there every Friday from 7 to 10. We've been there since January. They're in that there's the little clubhouse bar that's
in the club
in the
going
little
down.
In the little like house looking thing next door to the main bar. But it's a great room, sounds great. Typically Alex Amato's doing sound. So
much more curated for live music.
It's definitely more of a listening room environment.
Absolutely.
Than especially the main room, which is great, and it's fun when there's a lot of people over there, but when you have all the garage doors up and there's people playing games on the patio, like music can very easily just get put in the background, which is fine when it's karaoke and stuff.
Right.
But when you're trying to have a place for songwriters to showcase their hard work and their pour their hearts out, you don't need you know,
You don't need people playing cornhole.
You don't need a party bus getting off and coming in and like just yelling all the time.
Yeah, so you're in there on Friday nights from 7 to 10.
That's
Tour
right.
Stop has been there since March of 2022 on Wednesdays.
Yep.
Yeah, we used to do...
And now you guys are in the clubhouse, too.
Yeah, I used to call it the Sonny's Garage up there in the front. Now we're in the clubhouse on Wednesday nights. But I'm just so happy to get to have so many of the... That's why I'm really glad we have all of our little community built into the Sonny's clubhouse there, because after Belcourt closed, we all kind of just went the way of the dodo a little bit and just kind of got lost out in the world for a little while.
Yeah, a couple, moved to Cabana for a little while, and then Cabana closed, and so I feel like everything kind of lined up.
Songsmiths at Cabana?
No, but like, Sundays at Sonny's is Pin Drop. Pin Drop was at Cabana, and so Sonny's just became like, oh hey, there's this
whole
new room that like there was
lost.
There was a couple like Undiscovered Nashville does the pre-famous shows there, and they were doing those shows there already. But overall, they weren't really using that room every single day for music.
And they weren't trying to be a venue.
No, not necessarily. But then they had the stage and the sound system put in, and it just became a place we were familiar with, especially because you were doing shows there. There's like, oh hey, there's this whole little venue that no one knows about that we can, because Koli and I were trying to move, because we didn't want to be on Wednesdays anymore. We were doing Wednesdays, but we had to do every other week because Koli has like an online songwriter class that she used to do back before she even moved here. So she had to do that every other week, and we weren't even hosting together. We were just trading off weeks. So I never even saw her for like 2 years almost.
Having the responsibility shared of hosting a show is quite nice.
Oh yeah, for sure. I highly recommend it.
Coming from the perspective of a guy who does it alone.
Yes. That's what I meant. But now we're on Fridays. We're there every week, unless one of us is out of town, which we've both been kind of out of town a lot lately, but it's a lot nicer to just have like a steady, consistent, especially the weekends. It's a little busier. Like we get just people that are not even there to play, just kind of, oh, what's going on over here? And they come in and sit down for a few songs.
Most of the world doesn't have to work on Saturday morning.
Most of them, no. I don't either anymore, which is why I don't work at that liquor store anymore. But
dude, that is the greatest perk of going independent like this is if I don't want to work, I just don't.
That's right.
And the days when I have to do my shows and that are long, and it makes up for it when I want to take a week-long vacation, go to Mexico.
And you can do that. Well, especially your shows you're doing, I mean, especially at like True Music Room, what do you do, 6 to 10
We're 6 to 10.
Yeah, we're doing Tuesdays. 7 to 10, so we're only doing 3 hours of music, which is pretty doable.
That's
but
very
then
manageable.
there's other, you're doing 4 to 5 hours, so I know some people do 6 hours of rounds. It's like, I couldn't imagine having to sit there
it takes
twice as long as I'm already there.
Staying at a 6-hour show.
Well, you're not even just sitting there. You're also talking with people. You're networking. You get people asking, "How do I play your show?" And you're not just sitting there relaxing, having a beer. You're still kind of on the. Yeah, you're on the job the whole time you're there. Yeah,
being on for 6 hours is really hard and very mentally exhausting.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, we do the Cambria on Tuesdays every week. We are at Sonny's Clubhouse every Wednesday. And Thursdays kind of changes week to week. We do typically Thursdays at the Hard Rock Cafe on Broadway on the 2nd floor. But that also alternates with once a month we do shows at the local.
Yeah.
And then we also have pop-up shows at the Listening Room every now and then. So if you're listening to this when this is coming out, we have a show coming up at the Listening Room on July 27th featuring, we mentioned him already, Mr. Alex Amato, amongst a few other people with Zach Meadows, 76th Street, and Emery Adeline.
That's right.
Who will be on the podcast here before too long as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've never had Emery
All
on.
of those 4 acts are amazing. So
it'll be a terrific show.
People and musicians.
It will sell out, so if you would like to attend, please buy your tickets now at the link in my bio.
You heard the man. So I'll be there.
Tell us about this surf rock album.
Oh, God. So the surf rock element of it is something I'm still going back and forth on. But basically, I have a song, you've heard it, called Dear Miss Anne, which is about an outlaw writing a letter to his, girlfriend or woman. I don't know if they're technically still dating or what the idea is just yet, but just letting her know basically where the stash is. He's going to be dead soon. And so I wrote that with Ryan Bowie and our good buddy Ken Matheson. And we wrote that song, and then a few writes later, Ken brought up this idea like, hey, we wrote this song that has these two characters that we created. What if we wrote 2 other songs and made this like a 3-song like concept EP about the idea with this 3-song EP is going to be, we have the first song's halfway written. That's like introducing the character that's being hung on the Dear Miss Anne song that we already have done. So we wrote the last song first, basically. It's about him, introducing him, and then the idea for the second song is going to be like from her perspective, like wishing they could be together, that kind of a thing. And I'm thinking of doing a third song that's just an instrumental, and that would be like the chase of him getting caught by the sheriff or whatever. So I found this playlist on Spotify that's all Western surf rock. So it all sounds like stuff you'd hear in old spaghetti westerns and
that's cool.
Like something that Quentin Tarantino would use in a movie.
That's cool.
And I had this idea, like if we could, I don't want it to necessarily be surf rock, but if we could use elements of that production with these songs we're writing, I think it could work really well. That being said, the instrumental would be pretty much just a surf rock thing, which I think could be fun. Like surf rock and being chased, I feel like it goes hand in hand.
They've got that up-tempo kind of motion.
And you can do like a galloping
that forward movement. Yeah,
like the horses running
Dick
everything.
Dale and the Deltones or whatever.
All that stuff. The Ventures.
Meeserloo.
And my original guitar teacher from when I first started taking lessons is a big surf rock guy. He was in a surf rock band. And so I do have like this weird little beginning foundation of surf rock that I've never gotten to do anything with. So I think it'll be a fun little experiment to see how that would work. And now that this has been said on a podcast, I better do it quickly before someone else steals this great idea. If I hear any surf rock EPs coming out, I'm coming for you.
If you hear any concept album surf rock EPs, you heard it here first.
Yeah. It's already almost done, so don't even think about it.
So have you thought about what you would want to call it?
Song we have written about him is The Bounty of the Clay County Ghost.
That's cool.
So I think that might just be like something like that.
I have a song from the old days of Aaron writing songs called Ballad of the Edgewater Wars.
Nice.
And that was a song it was an instrumental about like the games I used to play with my neighborhood kids because I lived on a street called Edgewater.
Nice.
And we used to play just with swords and plastic guns. We'd play quote, quote, war.
Yeah.
But it was just childlike wonderment. And it's fun having those just instrumental songs.
I think about all that kind of stuff pretty frequently. I'm turning 30 this month. Maybe I shouldn't say that in public, but
I'm turning 32.
Yeah. So
wait,
30 as well. Yeah. There you go. So no, I'm not like worried about getting older. It's just I'm thinking back on a lot of things.
It's happening,
and thinking like I would like there were like some neighborhood kids I used to play with all the time that we'd just go and we'd have like wiffle ball bats, and those were lightsabers, and we would run around the yard and we'd play like and like thinking back on it from like look if you were just watching us play, it was just some kids with hitting each other with baseball bats,
right?
But my memory of doing it, we were like playing we were like
you were in Star Wars.
Yeah, like we were like pretending to be characters, and like
I wonder what age it was that the imagination died, because I remember those same things. Like I used to play Mega Man where you put the Pringles can on your wrist
and just pretend that was
my blaster. And I want to know how
so
old
funny.
I was when that just went away.
So Yes Man, there's a quote that Zooey Deschanel's character says, it's the world's a playground. You know that when you're a kid, but somewhere along the way, everyone forgets it. And I remember the first time I watched that movie. That's one of my favorite movies. I just think it's very funny and just a lighthearted, Jim Carrey kind of rom-com thing. But I just remember the first time watching that movie, that just kind of stuck with me for whatever reason, because it's so true. Like when you're a kid, anything can be whatever you want it to be.
Yep.
And then you just, at some point,
it just goes away.
You just kind of forget to have fun. So that's the nice thing about being a musician, is I feel like we kind of still get to
We get to
have
play.
fun, and we're just constantly playing in a playground. So
That seems like a nice note for us to cap this off on.
yeah, I'd say so.
Well, Shaun, thank you for being on the podcast yet again.
Oh yeah.
I think this is your 4th episode, you said?
I think it's the 4th, but it's like maybe the 3rd that's available because one of them got taken down.
Well, check out Songsmiths at Sonny's.
Yeah, come on. We're every Friday, 7 to 10. We have rounds. We have feature sets. Depends on the week and how I'm feeling when we're booking. But it's always fun, always good.
One of my favorite shows to hang out at.
Oh, yeah. And then, I didn't bring up, every time I do the podcast, I have to bring up Swayze.
Oh,
so
yes,
shout
tell
out
us about
Swayze.
Swayze.
Swayze's the 80s.
We've got almost 200 subscribers now.
Yeah.
Tell us any new folks about Swayze.
So Swayze is my college roommate and I's synthwave, synth funk 80s project where he does pretty much. It was his concept, his idea, and then I kind of help him with the production and mixing and all that fun stuff. But it's all very like 80s sounding. Just
it's
fun.
very fun music.
Yeah, it's very fun. We're working on some. We have like 2 or 3 songs that we're currently working on. Finishing up here, hopefully getting something released pretty soon. But go listen to. We have an album on Spotify with there's a couple singles as well, and then I think he did a like Halloween EP with another producer that's
Okay.
really fun. So definitely check that out as well.
Go check out all of Shaun's music.
Yay, Lon Shivingston on Instagram.
Lon Shivingston, he is not the NBA superstar.
I have the same name as the NBA basketball player, but I'm not Shaun Livingston, the basketball player. But LaunShivingston, Lon Shivingston. I might just be changing that to my artist name.
I'll have that listed in the episode link
Please
description
do.
here as well.
TikTok, Instagram, Threads.
Threads?
We on Threads,
wow,
baby.
that's the first time we've plugged Threads.
We're plugging Threads, dude. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go on Threads. I've already got 500 followers.
Comedian Whitney Cummings, I think, said that it seems like that Threads is like Twitter got newly sober. That's what Threads seems like.
Yeah, dude, I had to get rid of my Twitter because of Elon Musk. It was just hard being on there because he started pushing his own tweets into your notifications.
Oh, really? I don't. Oh, okay.
He was like, you might be interested in this, and I was like, I'm not.
Yeah, but now I'm on Threads and I'm getting there's things in my feed that I don't even follow these people.
I don't like that.
But it's also what I do understand is when somebody I am following commented on a thread, but I'm getting stuff that I don't even have people commenting on.
Yep, I'm getting random people that are just like on my feed.
Yeah,
I don't like that, and I hope that goes away.
And there's no
the purpose of
hashtags.
Following.
There's no hashtags and there's no searchability. You can't search for.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. It seems like they just didn't have it quite ready.
Yeah, exactly. They kind of rushed it.
And there's a lot of like
they just kind of rushed it.
Yeah, because they made it so easy to you just go on your Instagram and make an account.
And it's just instantly
so
there.
many people did it that now there's all these people using it, but it's like not fleshed out yet.
I keep seeing it on the news. They're like, new platform Threads had 30 million users. And it's like...
Yeah, because it's just Instagram.
Yeah, it's Instagram. You clicked one thing, and it's like, do you want to follow all of your existing followers? And it's just bam.
Yeah, and you hit yes.
And then it was just there.
Yep.
Import your bio? Sure. Import your profile photo? Sure.
Done.
It may as well have
What's the point? What's the point of notes on Instagram anymore? I don't know.
It may as well... That was probably a
test.
pilot thing for
I
it.
guess.
At this point, it probably should have just been an extra tab on the Instagram app.
Nah, it'd be too much stuff on there. There's already too much
stuff on there already.
There's already
I wish
too
they'd
much.
get rid of Reels. I hate that stuff.
Do you use the marketplace at all on there?
There's a marketplace.
Is it not on there
Instagram?
anymore? There used to be.
I technically have Tour Stop merchandise for sale on the Tour Stop.
Yeah, I've never
thing,
used any of that stuff.
They don't. It's just a button on the profile that says View Shop.
Okay.
And it is not a user friendly platform to sell merchandise on, because you can't directly list your products through the Instagram app. You have to go through like the Meta verified whatever back end creator suite or whatever, the Facebook business, and it's just super complicated.
Yeah, I'll probably have to pay for some of that at some point and just get that blue check mark put on there.
$15 a month.
Yeah, that's worth $15, isn't it?
Quite a bit.
God, that's
$15 a year seems better.
To have a blue check mark. Like, who even cares?
It means literally nothing. Literally nothing.
I'm rolling my eyes for the listeners at home.
If you roll them any harder, they're not going to fall back forwards.
Yeah.
Well, follow Songsmiths on Instagram. What is the official
I think
Instagram?
it's at Songsmiths Nash.
Songsmiths Nash on
Yeah.
Instagram. Follow Lon Livingston. Follow Swayze. Follow
Yeah.
Sean on Spotify.
Follow Koli Kohler, my co-host.
Holy moly, Koli.
Holy moly, Koli.
And check out Molly Murphy's music that's going to be coming out through the pipeline of Shaun Livingston's productions right here.
That's right.
In the meantime, you can check us out at Nashville Tour Stop on your social media platforms. Follow us on Threads. I've posted 2, what do you even call them?
Threads, yeah.
Well, I've posted 2 of them on the Tour Stop account. But check us out on Instagram and TikTok, wherever you get your content. We've also got our full website, NashvilleTourStop.com, where we have our full events calendar. I believe there's something like 150 dates listed on our website right now. So find one that fits your calendar and come hang out. If you'd like, you can support us on Patreon, help get me out of my living room, and back into a true production studio where my dog isn't asleep on the couch right next to me, which honestly is not too bad.
Yes.
But in the meantime, please do remember that all roads lead right back here to the Nashville Tour Stop.